All right, here we go. It's Phil Hulett and Friends. I'm Phil. We have Greg and Sandy and Chris today. And there's a new way to treat veterans with PTSD, and I tell you, honestly, I don't understand how it works. It sounds to me like it would make things worse. But what do I know? I'm not a pro at these things. I just ask questions, and we're going to learn about this together. And I think what happens here is they essentially put veterans together with lions, tigers, and bears. And so let's learn about this unique treatment with the man behind Catalyst Refuge. His name is Kevin Rose, and he joins us now. Kevin, thank you. This is so counterintuitive to me. I mean, you talk about stress reduction, anxiety relief, a calming effect. I mean, I'm sorry, a hungry bear or the sight of a tiger evoke quite different responses for me. So explain, how exactly does this work?
I will explain, Phil. Thanks for the time. The Catalyst is a human-animal interaction program, and it teaches grounding and sensory focus skills to eliminate stress and take participants from feeling chaotic to totally calm in seconds. Now, the kicker, as you said, is that we involve some of the most powerful predators on the planet to help with this stress elimination process. And during the program, participants come face-to-face through a fence, of course, with tigers, cougars, black Asian leopards, and even a bear. As we progress through the program, participants are asked to bring something stressful to mind. We never ask for any details. We just have them bring up the stress inside and help them recognize how the stress affects their body. So as they bring something stressful to mind, they may feel their jaw clenching or their neck and shoulders tightening. And as they experience their stress, they get to watch the animals become agitated in response to the stress. We then teach the participants how to bring their awareness to the present moment using very simple sensory awareness techniques. And these techniques can help them calm the feelings of stress. And as a result, they get to watch the animals respond and become calm as well.
You know, we always hear that animals can sense your fear. But they pick up on the stress without too many cues?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to think about animals live by their senses, and so they're constantly in the present moment, listening to their senses and reacting. So when someone comes in their space that's stressful, they'll react to that. I mean, you got to think about when you walk into a room and you see someone that's stressing out. You know that, right? I mean, you can tell it from a mile away.
Sure.
Because of your senses and because you've learned how to tune into that. You can even be around someone without even seeing them, or about knowing them, and have that same reaction. You just kind of feel that something's not right.
Well, not me. I'm oblivious to all things, but yeah. I've heard that happens in actual people.
Yeah, Greg, it does. Yeah. But the vets, they have to get a level of understanding and trust before they can reap the benefits from an animal who could very easily kill or eat them, even though it's on the other side of the fence. I mean, when you're dealing with these men and women, assuming you have both, there must be a process, and they fall into a couple of different categories. The ones that give themselves up to the theory, and it tends to work better, and others who struggle through it, and I imagine that's the case, that some of them do struggle through this. And tell us, what happens then?
Well, really, if you think about it, in a wartime situation, or really in any intense situation, the senses are heightened. There's a response from the sympathetic nervous system. It's called the fight or flight response. And when we're in trouble, that fight or flight response kicks in to help protect us. Well, when that happens, the senses are heightened. These combat veterans are in an incredibly intense situation, and those senses are heightened. So what I found is because they've been in this situation, they actually respond very well to learning how to calm with their senses heightened.
And so as they calm, then the potentially ferocious animal calms along with them, and they get that feedback?
Yeah, it's absolute. It happens every time. It doesn't happen the same way every time, and certain people connect to certain animals, so it's never the same process for anyone. Everyone has a different process, but what happens is they're able to relax, and they're able to tune into their senses and really come into the present moment. And when you do that, it takes that cyclical thinking out of the play. So it takes everything you're thinking about, sits it on the side, and brings you into the moment.
We're talking with Kevin Rose with Catalyst Refuge, where they take veterans with PTSD and introduce them to lions, tigers, and bears for therapy. And Chris, you have a question.
Yeah, I think it's a remarkable idea, Kevin, and it makes a lot of sense because from the standpoint of there is a calming that can be brought to you by a dog sitting in your lap or a purring cat that is also probably helpful for stress. But when you have to be that aware because there's this ferocious animal, potentially ferocious animal in front of you, it has to make the therapy that much more valuable and sort of that much more intense and healing, I would imagine.
Absolutely it does. And if you think about it, people that are trained in the military, they're trained to be tough. And so when they're facing these animals, they're no longer the top of the food chain. And it creates a sense of awe and wonder when you're that close to these animals because, normally we aren't afforded the opportunity to be that close. And it just, it really creates a balance that's incredible.
Is there still a place for a fluffy kitten, though? I mean, is that like, I want just a cuddly little something. I mean, there's got to be a place for that, too, somewhere in all of this.
Well, absolutely. There's actually cats running around, and you can if you want to attach with them, that's fine. We also have farm animals that are there, and monkeys and things like that. And it's a wildlife sanctuary, and sometimes people connect with those animals just as quickly. So we use the tigers and leopards as a start off point, but it's a progression, and so whichever animal attracts the person, that's the one we work with.
So I have a question. The final hope with all of this is that once they're out in their daily life every day, and if they have something that triggers them, do they go back to this point of, when I looked into that lion's eyes or anything and I was afraid, I was actually able to overcome that? Is that kind of the idea when they're outside of this?
That's an excellent question. And yes, that's absolutely what happens. In my follow-up with people that have gone through the program, they'll say, I'll feel myself getting stressed, and because of the techniques you taught me, the stress, I teach people to really use stress as a cue to engage the senses. And at the same time, they do remember those incidences that happen during their session. Also, what our goal is to teach combat veterans this approach and kind of create a train-the-trainer program so that combat veterans can then lead other combat veterans through the process. So, it really becomes a camaraderie event in a peaceful place.
Yeah, and people can do a quick little exercise on your website, catalystrefuge.com, and tap into this a little bit, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually put the main grounding technique I use into the form of a downloadable PDF. It's kind of a little fictional character used, and it just really tells all the steps that I use in the grounding process. Very simple. It's free on the website if they want to download it. And, so if you can't make it to the program, get that PDF, and it is absolutely a great...
And start working on yourself. CatalystRefuge.com, and we have it linked on our links page at philhewlettandfriends.com. Fascinating work, Kevin Rose. Thank you very much for spending some time with us.
Thanks so much for having me today, Phil.
You're welcome.